2015 NRA Annual Meetings and Exhibits in Nashville, and Tom Gresham is broadcasting on location from the Ruger booth.
All righty, we're back with you. It is Gun Talk. We're at the NRA's annual meetings. We're in the Ruger booth here. Folks at Ruger are kind enough to host us. They got a big old Ruger sign behind us. We got people coming by, taking pictures, actually, we're handing cameras to everybody. You know, nobody has a real camera. We're handing phones to everybody, actually. And everybody's got their, their phone is their camera. You're using yours for your mirror in the morning?
Yes, I am. How terrible does that sound?
Ashley Hlebinsky joins us now from the Center of the West, the Winchester Firearms Museum, the Buffalo Bill, Cody Museum.
All the names.
all the stuff in Cody, Wyoming, right?
Yes, the Cody Firearms Museum.
Cody Firearms
at the
Museum.
Buffalo Bill Center of the
Okay,
West.
I'm
Say that 10 times fast.
No, thank you. I'll let you do that. That's for you to do. Exactly right. Now, you are the new curator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is terrific. Now, I came out and visited you last year. We did some TV with you out there, and it was one of those interesting things where you've had this experience where I've talked to this person, I don't know how this is going to work. You walk in, and we say, okay, Ashley, we got the cameras, turn them on. And it was like 10 seconds into it, I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Because number one, you know your subject matter, you know guns, and number two, you're very comfortable presenting the information. So it was great. So we got good TV out of it, and it was fun. You just made it easy up there.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually just watched it.
Oh, did you?
For the first time. I was tied down and forced to watch it. I hate watching myself on TV.
So what'd you think?
You know what? It was pretty good for one of my first big time TV spots. But lots of room to improve.
You did a good job. No. All right. So tell people about the museum and a little bit. Well, first, we ought to start with the history of it because it's a phenomenal facility.
It really is great. The Cody Firearms Museum, in the grand scheme of the center, is relatively new. Mm-hmm. The center has 5 museums and a full-scale research library, and that's been around since 1917. But the Cody Firearms Museum got its start as the Winchester Museum.
Right. And that's what I know it as, of course.
Exactly. And that was actually because Olin Corporation, who obviously bought Winchester out of receivership after the Great Depression, they had the Winchester Arms Collection, which was about 4,000 firearms, all the design drawings, all the archival records, factory letters, everything.
Okay.
Well, in 1975, they decided to put it on loan to the center. And so they watched us very carefully. And in 1988, they decided to give it to us. And so that's basically 4,000 guns overnight. And
Wow.
so we decided we needed a little bit more room.
Mm-hmm.
So they opened up and built an entirely new wing. And in 1991, we had the Cody Firearms Museum.
Okay.
And that now has 7,000 firearms.
Jeez.
And almost 30,000 firearms-related artifacts. And that's about 15,000 of those are rounds of ammo.
Okay, so we've got 7,000 firearms, but they're not all out for display, are they?
No, we've got about 4,000 guns out on display, and that is representative of guns from 1425, that's our earliest gun,
Wow.
through modern day. We're contemporary collecting now.
What kind of gun in 14, whatever it was?
It was a hand cannon, and it was a monster. This hand cannon's actually repeating, so you had 2 very unlucky individuals. One that would hold the gun, and the other that would light the fuses and stick them down the barrel. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there really was a cannon. You had to light the fuses, and somebody held onto it until it went off.
Oh, yeah. And they were supposed to go off, one right after the other, but sometimes they went off all at the same time. Really some advanced technology there.
Sure. All right, so you start there, and you've walked me through a lot of this, and you've got wheel locks, flint locks, pin fire. I mean, you got the one you showed me, a needle fire gun.
Yes, the dries and needle gun. That was the predecessor to the bolt action, invented in the 1820s. And I love that one because when you think of bolt actions, you think of today, and you think of the early 1900s, and you don't think about really early 19th century. You've got your earliest bolt action. That's part of the reason why I think the whole longevity of firearms history is awesome.
Okay, I mean, you're a historian.
Yes.
Question: what is it? I know you've had a chance to think about this. What is it about firearms that holds our fascination in the history of guns?
There are so many things that hold our fascination. Obviously, right from the start in the United States with the Second Amendment, you have it ingrained in our culture. Mm-hmm. But to me, guns can tell such a story about so many different things. And, if you like technology, you got it in firearms. I mean, you've got, the interchangeability of parts, starting with firearms and some of the hull breech loaders. And so you've got that kind of technical component for those types of people.
Because a lot of the early advances just of all things of technology started in firearms.
Yes.
No matter what the period of time was.
Exactly. And, and the firearms industry, honestly, has been on the forefront of a lot of things, really, when making technology. Honestly, they've been pretty much on the forefront for women, incorporating them in the early 20th century and having representatives throughout history. And so there's all these different components: technology, people that owned, used, made, and so there's something for everyone. And our main visitor at the Cody Firearms Museum, a lot of them have never even held a gun. And so
really?
it's the stories, it's the awe of the technologies and the embellishment and the artistry that gets a lot of people. And so for me, it's that there is something for everyone when you walk in that door, even if you aren't a gun person.
It's interesting you mentioned the stories, because if you're an individual and you know this gun, you say, well, this gun was owned by my grandfather or my great-grandfather, and those are passed down, and then it carries the stories. From a museum standpoint, we walk in there and you've got the guns of World War II. Or the guns that were used in the Pacific. You got the German guns, you got the Japanese guns, and what you're doing is you're through the mechanism of firearms. And one of the things is firearms last.
Yes.
They are, if you take care of them, they essentially last forever.
Yeah.
And so we can hold on to these artifacts.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the things that I find the most interesting is the stories that people tell the donors. We want to talk about the fact we have General Patton's presentation M1 on display right now at NRA, and those are great people and fantastic artifacts. But just the story of the donor sometimes is so fascinating, and how they got their gun, and that personal connection is so key. We actually just accepted for conservation that Great Basin Winchester that they found leaning up against the tree.
All right, wait. Hold on to that thought, because that is so interesting. I want to take a quick break here. We'll come back, because this is a gun you need to hear more about. I'll tell you what, we're talking with Ashley Hlebinsky from the Cody Firearms Museum in Cody, Wyoming. We'll be right back with more gun talk.
The Black Hills. There's nothing like it on Earth. The kind of place where characters become legends. Wild Bill Hickok, Crazy Horse, Calamity Jane. Pick any part of the world and you'll find people go there to make it their own. But this is where people come to get made. This is the place that made the people who make the best ammo on Earth. Black Hills Ammunition.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The bedside backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The bedside backup is not a child safety device.
In today's climate, you always need to be ready. Nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights. Shoot better. Stay safer. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our new laser training video, The Laser's Edge.
This is Masad Ayub. If you carry a gun for self-defense, I urge you to join the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. The network was formed to help armed citizens fight the legal battle after a self-defense incident. I'm a member and serve on their advisory board, and I advise all lawfully armed citizens to become members too.
Protect yourself. Go to armedcitizensnetwork.org. That's armedcitizensnetwork.org.
All right, we're back with you here. Tom Gresham. It is Gun Talk. We're at the Ruger booth at the NRA's annual meetings here in Nashville. Lots of stuff going on. A lot of people walking by. We're kind of waving at our friends as they go by, Ashley. And, you haven't been in this industry for a real long time, but you already know a lot of people.
so many more people that I don't know.
Well,
I'm always amazed at these events. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people to meet.
Well, I mean, I don't know everybody here, but we know a lot of people, and as you go on, you more and more. But our tease as we went into the break is tell us about this amazing gun that you guys just got.
And all we're doing right now for it is the conservation work. So it's not in our collection, but it's the Great Basin gun, the infamous gun that went viral not too long ago.
Right.
And that was the Winchester model 1873 that was found leaning up against a tree in the Great Basin National Park. And it was the entire staff was just like going batty over it.
There are pictures of it leaning up against the tree.
Yeah.
You got the pictures of this. Does anybody have any idea how long it had sat out there?
And that's one of the things we talked about. There is a serial number on the gun that is legible. We have done a factory letter for it, so we know, when it was made, and I think it was like 132 years ago.
Right.
But the gem of this gun is that I don't think you're ever going to know. It is actually...
So it'll always have a mystery around it.
Yeah, and it's in pretty good shape. For
sitting outside. Yes.
Everything's pretty much intact. The stock is looking a little bit rough, but you can still see tacks in the stock for where there was a break in it that they tried to repair it.
Unfortunately, it's a dry area.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And so, honestly, I mean, there's so many different opinions on what it is, and that's why I like it so much. But it could be a gun that was passed down generation to generation, like you talked about previously.
Sure.
And was left out more recently.
That's right. I mean, it could be sitting out there for a season or two or three. Well, no, the way the wood looks, it's probably been out there for at least 5 years, I would guess.
Oh, yeah. It's the wood is definitely the roughest part of it. The metal, though, you can still see color case hardening on it.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's really amazing.
So what's going to happen to it?
Right now, we are doing the conservation work on it. We're doing minimal conservation work, kind of just making sure the wood stops falling apart. But it will go back to Great Basin National Park, and they're going to display it. And it will be on display at their museum. And I think that it's a fitting place for it. Obviously, we'd love to have it in the Cody Firearms Museum. But I come from kind of an environment of the living history sites. And so the concept of place is so significant. And if you have a gun that's so rooted in place, like that gun found right there, then
it should be displayed there.
It should be displayed there, exactly.
That's very cool. You get to see a lot of neat stuff come through there.
I do.
You do. Oh, one of the things I got to ask you, I got an email from somebody that says, now, I wanted to go to the museum, but I don't think I could carry because I carry. And I said, well, I'll ask Ashley. What's the story?
Well, the story is that was a very old policy that was put forth before the Cody Firearms Museum was actually built, and it is not the case anymore. You can definitely do that.
Cool. Happiness. All right. Good deal. All right. So I hear that there's an expansion or something going on there. What's happening?
We are doing a full-scale reinstallation of the Cody Firearms Museum. The museum, like I said, was built in 1991, so it's like 24 years old. It's almost as old as I am. And it really hasn't had a lot of upgrades since it was put into place. It's been pretty similar since when it opened, and so it's time. And what we're going to do is tear down the walls and rebuild. But in the rebuild, we're working with a world-renowned designer who does a long history of working with military museums. And he looked at our floor plan and he said, you're not making adequate use of your space, and I can fit all of the guns on display, all 7,000, and it won't feel cramped.
So they won't be in those vaults and everything?
We'll probably keep a couple of things for research purposes.
Okay.
But one of the things we want to build is a full-scale research facility so we can grab those guns, like our study galleries in the basement, just completely do it right. And have reading rooms where people can look at guns and look at design drawings.
Of course, museum design has come a long way in these years.
Yeah. And one of the key things for the upstairs, is our initial thing was to retain quantity or put more on. That's definitely going to happen. We're going to have more guns on display, if not all of them. But also to provide those stories, those contexts. It's so hard when you've got an encyclopedic collection to not get things lost. Like, we'll have a row of sharps, and what people don't know is there is a Custer Sharps in there.
Right in the middle there's a Custer Sharps, and you're going, it got lost in the mix.
And I'll give this one because this is more embarrassing to me, but we got so many things in the collection that we just did the USA Shooting Calendars 2016 calendar, and we were doing 150 years of Winchester for 2016, and I was pulling significant models, and I'm walking through the gallery, and I walk by the 87 shotguns for the Winchesters, and I look at the label, and it says, serial number 1, made for Henry Ford to be presented to Harvey Firestone.
Holy cow.
I didn't even know.
Didn't even know it was sitting in there.
No, I mean, there's so much in there. I mean, it was just, on a small label, and I'm relatively new to the collection, and so there's things that I find
and you go, wait, that one has to come out. We have to do something with this one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and so we're trying to find ways to showcase the quantity, but then pull out those good stories.
The exceptional ones with the stories.
And digital interactives is really one of the ways we're looking into that.
Sure, because you can have one space that shows a lot of information of various guns. Instead of having different signs, you can have one digital sign.
Yeah.
So, something like that.
Videos are so important. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a firearms basics and safety section at the beginning of the museum for people that have never encountered a firearm. Let them handle, replicas or models of the action types, like enlarged action, so you can work a bolt action.
Right.
Because right now, in our chronology, you've got the match lock and the wheel lock and all the versions of flintlock and, all the different types, and you think, okay, that's great. But how does it work?
So what? How does so you could pick one up and you had a mock-up of a wheel lock.
Yeah.
Or something. You go, oh, that's pretty cool. Very primitive.
Yeah.
Compared to what we have now.
And one of the things that I always do when giving a tour is to say firearms are actually, in a very rudimentary sense, simple.
Yes.
Because the name of the action type often says what it does. Wheel lock uses a wheel. Match lock uses match.
Matches, right. Pin fire.
Pin fire, pin.
That's right.
So
there you go.
It's really great. But people don't pick up on that, and they think, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But we want people to have a deeper understanding of how they work and how we got to the technologies we have.
Exactly. I mean, so what's the? Come on, grab this thing.
Speaking of technologies,
who's going to put this thing on? We're handing. This is an impromptu. We're making this up as we go. All right, Ken, put this on, would you please? All right, we're calling an audible.
Yeah.
Because you got on the phone, you call these guys because it's one of those deals. All right, can you hear me now?
Sure.
All right, Ken, introduce yourself.
Ken Pfau, Senior Vice President of Sales for
FNH. FNH USA. All right. We're talking, I said, all right, what's the coolest thing you've seen here? I said, well, you're not going to believe it, but I actually saw a semi-automatic saw. And Ashley goes, yeah? You want to talk about it? I said, yeah. So here's Ken. He walks over with a semi-automatic saw. I want people to understand, we're talking a semi-automatic saw, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so where did this idea come from?
A couple years ago, we talked about having a lot of fun with guns, and we looked at what we do very well, and what we do very well is make machine guns.
Right.
And the 249 is one of those guns that we all love to take to the range and shoot full auto with customers and clients.
Sure.
And the discussion started is, well, why don't we just do this in semi-auto so we can have a lot of fun for everybody?
Sure.
Right?
So everybody can have it.
Yep.
Okay.
And so we did a little bit of engineering research and came up with a design where we used all the major components that we do with a machine gun.
Just so people understand, we're talking about a belt-fed gun, right?
Yes. Belt-fed or AR-fed.
Okay, so you can stick an AR mag in it, but you can have a belt-fed semi-auto.
Yes.
So for those who get upset about a 30-round mag, we're really going to tick them off now.
Yeah, 200-round dump.
Step around here where you're not in front of that speaker there. Thank you. All right, 200-round dump. What's it weigh?
I don't know.
You don't know. How much? 17 pounds.
Okay.
So, and it's in 5.56.
Yep.
So on a bipod. So when you shoot this thing, it's just not going to move at all.
No, it shoots like a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5 pound trigger. It shoots like an absolute dream.
Sweet. I mean, and it's very cool when you look at it. It's a saw.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it just is. It just happens to be a semi-auto.
Yep. And it's going to be authentic to the gun.
Well, since you guys make the gun.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do that.
The first 200 that we're going to do a special collector's edition, and those first 200 we're going to go ahead and kit up with the kit that the guys get. So it'll come with the cleaning kit, the slings, special Pelican case. So it'll be as authentic as we can make it.
That is so cool. Now, when's it going to be available?
We're hoping for Christmas time.
Christmas. That'd be a great. Find one of those under your tree. That would be great.
Yeah. And,
maybe find one in the museum.
Yeah. And MSRP is we're hoping to release it in the 7s.
Okay.
And one of the guys has already calculated that there's 248 days until Christmas. If you save $20 a day, you could have one by Christmas.
You could have your $7,000 ready to go by then.
Yep.
There you go. $20 a day. Just pass up your Starbucks and lunch every day. Give up smoking or whatever it is you got to do to get there. And now, of course, the only other problem is it's kind of like owning a Great Dane. It's one thing to get it; it's another thing to feed it.
True. Very true. Yes, and unfortunately now we can still keep and shoot the 223 that
right. That's right. That's right. The M855.
Yeah,
exactly right. So you can still find relatively expensive ammo for it. This is a cool concept. 17-pound, 5.56 bipod. For those that don't know, give them just a real quick history of the SAW, what it is.
Well, the SAW was developed. It was basically, started off as a gun that they, first adopted officially, and then we started building in 1980s in Columbia, South Carolina. And since then, there's quite a few versions of it. There's the Mark 48, there's the Para, and we'll have other versions of that gun as well. So it was it shot basically either magazine or belt fed, and there's a lot of guys that have served. We're SAW gunners.
Right.
They know a lot more about it than I do.
Sure.
All I know is that I have to have one now.
But yeah, well, of course. I mean, I'm looking at it and go, let's see. It's loud and it's expensive. I'm in.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's heavy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and coming from a military history world, this is kind of a real-life way that you can own a little piece of history.
That's true.
It's such a significant contribution.
Because we
to
can't go out and buy a real SAW, full auto SAW, but we can buy this.
You might.
You might, if you can find one that's made before 86.
Yeah, it'd probably run you $250,000.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I can get.
There were very few of them.
Or I think I might want to get one of these.
Right.
Oh, okay. We're going to go semi-auto. I'll pull the trigger real fast.
Right.
So there you go. Very cool. It's a great idea. Is this on the website already?
Yeah, there's a video on the website that has some video of us shooting it and a little bit of the history of it.
What's the website?
FNHUSA.com.
FNHUSA.com. There you go. Website for the museum?
Centerofthewest.org.
Centerofthewest.org. When you go out there, you'll see a lot of very cool military guns. And here's one that's not military, but almost military. It is the semi-automatic version of one of the coolest guns. You've seen them in movies. You've seen them in Black Hawk Down. You've seen them in all these other movies. Now, maybe by Christmas time, you'll be able to get one yourself. Ken, thank you for dropping by. Ashley, thank you. Thanks for calling Ken and getting him over here and showing us the cool gun and the whole deal. We'll take some pictures of this thing before you guys get at it. We'll put it up on Twitter. You can follow me at Twitter. I'm at GUNTALK. That'll work for you. In the meantime, get out and do a little bit of shooting. Take somebody with you. Have some fun. We're going to be right back here in just a minute. We're at the NRA show in Nashville. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
Okay, now we get to have a bunch of fun. We get our buddies in here. We're at the Ruger booth at the NRA annual meetings, and now we got the Ruger guys have joined us, and so glad that you guys will be with Chris Killoy, Mark Gurney from Ruger. We're in the only part of your booth that anybody can get into because we're actually outside of your booth. What's going on back behind the wall back there?
There's so many people there, we have to step out just to get a breath of air.
There you go. As I say, I got to leave the room to change my mind. There you go.
That's right. We're packed. Covered up.
You are packed. It's pretty amazing. So what are they looking at? What's new, as they say?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is coming by to renew old friendships and acquaintances, but a lot of it is to see the new stuff and some of their favorite guns, show their kids guns they grew up with, as well as the new stuff we've got.
And of course, the new stuff is like you've got stuff that just rolls out whenever it's ready now. So it's like the last 6 months you've rolled out a number of different things.
Right. We try to make sure that we don't launch the products based on an artificial schedule. We do them when they're ready, and we've got production ready to go, and we've got inventory ready for our distributors and our retailers. Right.
Okay. So, what are you showing people? What are they talking about?
Well, first gun out, the long gun, is we have the M77-17 chambered in 17 Winchester Super Mag.
Ooh, I've been reading a lot about that cartridge.
Yeah, it's a very cool cartridge. So it's a rimfire cartridge, 20 or 25 grain loadings at around 3,000 feet a second.
3,000 in a rimfire cartridge.
In a rimfire.
Good grief.
And at reasonable rimfire prices. So it's a shooter. It's an all-day-long shooter at 3,000 feet a second.
Okay, so obviously you've been shooting it. You have the gun. You've been shooting it.
Yes.
What are we looking at for real-world distance, range? What would this be good for?
I think that depends on the wind. because it's a fast-moving bullet, shoots flat.
Right, lightweight bullet.
Lightweight bullet, so the BC really isn't there. So you get a crosswind, and it's going to get a little...
It's going to move on you, but in a still condition, it's probably a 300-yard gun.
Yes, 200 all day long.
Right.
And it's making tiny little groups at 100 yards for us as long as the wind is
I was just going to ask you, how's it shooting?
Oh, yeah, it's a sub-minute gun. Absolutely,
really?
Yes.
Jeez. So what are people doing with it? This is a prairie dog gun or a varmint gun?
Yes, and yes.
And
yeah,
whatever else you want to do.
It's just much fun, and it's a pretty gun, too. So
okay, what makes it pretty?
It's a stainless steel action, a medium contour barrel, and a piece of walnut.
Walnut?
Yeah.
Like real walnut?
Like real walnut.
Oh.
So, Bill designed that 77 series to be just like his Mark II.
It's a classic style.
Classic style, grown-up gun. Yeah. Very pretty, solid feel to
Leonard Brownell type stock on it. Here you go way back. You're talking a really true classic stock, which, it's interesting. A classic stock looks good, but it's also very functional, isn't it?
Yes. That's why it's classic.
Because the comb is high. It's basically as high as you can make it, still have the bolt come out. Yeah. And so when you put the gun to your shoulder and you cheek it, the eye is lined up with the scope. It's just the way it's supposed to be.
And just a good-looking gun.
It is. Yeah. That's very cool. Okay, is that available now?
It is. We are in production.
Okay. Well, that's true, because you don't talk about it until you're ready to ship.
Right. That's right.
So that's very cool. What else you got? You got all your cheat sheets here. So
well,
you guys got all kinds of stuff.
We do. We have in the category of just plain fun. We brought back the 22 Charger, the 22 Charger pistol, which is we had out a few years ago, discontinued it, brought it back this time in a slightly different configuration. It's got a standard A2 grip on it, and we also have a takedown version, which is just very, very cool.
And made even more fun now that you have the 25-round magazine.
We have the 25-round magazine, the BX25. This one ships with our 15-round magazine because we found it's a little better for the bench.
Yes,
your bench shooting
that's true. Because you're shooting off the bench, the magazine can hit. So you've got the 15-rounder there, but it will take the 25.
It will take the 10, the 15, the 25, take them all.
All the Rugers. All the Ruger
Yep, anything what we call the BX1, original rotary magazine.
The takedown is so cool. What does it do to the accuracy of the gun when you go to the takedown model?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
In fact, it's a solid lockup. I mean, when we first developed the takedown for the 1022, I remember the engineer kind of walked into my office with a grin on his face, and he showed me a very nice target. It had 10 holes in it. He said, well, that was 5 shots. Take the barrel off, put it back on, take 5 more shots. So we've tested that over and over again. It's just not worth testing anymore. It is rock solid, and that's with an optic on the receiver.
Wow. Okay. So what do people do with a Charger?
Well, that's one of those, like I said, pure fun gun. Take it to the range, punch holes, or take it tin cans, chase them around the back 40.
Stick a bipod on it.
But it comes with a bipod.
Okay.
It comes with a bipod, and I think it is a great first gun. If you're teaching a youngster to shoot for the first time, you certainly don't want to give them a handgun. And some of the little kids will struggle with a rifle. They're trying to hold up the weight, and you're trying to explain sights to them. So if you give them one of these Chargers with the bipod,
on a bench,
let the weight just rest on the bipod. They can put 2 hands on the grip, give them a red dot and a target they can hit, and they have tons of fun. It's safe, easy to do.
I like that. Everything about that. They're not having to hold up a lot of weight.
Right.
It's a long enough barrel. They're not worried about maybe twisting it back and forth. So from a safety standpoint, it's really good. And I love that you mentioned putting a red dot on it. I think that's such a great way to start people out.
Yes.
What a fabulous tool. That's just fun.
Somebody, in fact, asked me, I said, what's the purpose of the Charger? I said, to have fun. I mean, that's all there is. It's a fun gun. Yeah. Get people out to the range and get them to enjoy the product.
And you know what? That's not only is that enough, that's the perfect response.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, that's what we do with these. We take them out to the range. We have fun with them. That is very cool. All right, hold on a second, guys. I got to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about, we got lots of time for you guys. So we're going to talk about all these guns that Ruger has. We're going to talk about some of the projects that you're involved with. And we're going to reveal all the deep, dark secrets. Well, maybe we'll do that later on. So that's for another day. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
Who will you trust with your guns and valuables? Liberty safes are the best built and most secure safes on the planet. They sell more gun safes than any other brand. It's about trust earned through performance. If your Liberty safe is damaged by fire or attempted break-in, they'll send a new safe right to your home. Protection from thieves and fire. Trust the #1 maker of quality gun safes. LibertySafe.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
Brownells has always given you an advantage. With their huge selection of forever guaranteed gun parts, ammunition, shooting accessories, and more. And now, they're offering you the Edge. For just $49.95, Brownells Edge covers your standard shipping and any return shipping cost for 1 year. Brownells Edge members also receive discount expedited shipping and exclusive offers. Get the Edge today by visiting brownells.com/edge.
The Ruger SR-45, a large caliber pistol with a trim, ergonomic profile. Like the popular Ruger SR-9 and SR-40, the SR-45 is perfectly sized to be comfortable and controllable with a slim, ergonomic grip and narrow slide. It features an adjustable 3-dot sight system, Ruger's unique reversible back strap, an ambidextrous manual safety and magazine release, and built-in Picatinny rail. The Ruger SR-45, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
All right, back with you. Tom Gresham, it's Gun Talk at the Ruger booth with the Ruger guys. We got Chris Killoy, president of Ruger. We got Mark Gurney, Uber engineer, communicator guy, and just overall shooter. Because when you want to talk guns, you go talk to Mark. And there's certain guns, Chris, when Mark comes in, he just kind of starts getting that smile on his face.
That's right.
You know? Look at him right now. Look at him. He's going, yeah. He's like he's wringing his hands over here. Oh, yeah, man. He says, and you know what? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, and I got some that I can't tell you about. and he's not saying a word.
No, some things
that we can't
tell you about.
Well, you guys have been cranking them out. I mean, just the ones, for instance, the last 6 months. You probably have the most active R&D department going.
We have about 100 engineers of various skill sets working on, both new product development and sustaining the product line, on the production facilities, as well as new product development. And that's really our lifeblood is, and you mentioned, Mark's grin of, talking about these products,
right.
But that's really what it comes down to. We got to have passionate people designing guns. We got people that like shooting, like the shooting sports, getting out. I mean, we have guys that, my favorite story is one of our engineers when he was working on the American rifle, the centerfire version up in Newport, New Hampshire, dead of winter. The guys were running really tight on the schedule, starting to lose a few days, and then we had a shutdown in the range, and they couldn't use the range. They went to his house, they opened up a window, they put the gun on a coffee table, and they were test firing out his window. Fortunately, he has a big piece of property, and and I said that's the kind of passion our folks have.
Yeah,
is they're not going to let anything get in their way. They're going to keep going and drive on.
That's right. Where do we have to go to shoot this gun? We'll go do it.
We're going to do it.
That's crazy. So, well, the other thing, and people know you, it's very interesting. I'm sure you run into this. There are some people who know you as a rifle maker. Some people know you as a maker of semi-automatic pistols. But one we can't forget is that you guys have a rich, long history of making revolvers. And the revolver clearly is not dead, is it?
Absolutely. In fact, the single-action revolvers are still very strong and very much a part of Ruger business.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of people think, the single-action revolver, okay, that must have got left by the wayside.
Right.
But not at all.
Wow.
We've had great success with the single-action business, and now some of the new double-action models have done extraordinarily well.
Right. Right.
And you mentioned fun, Tom.
I'm going to say single-action revolver.
If you can't have fun with the single-action revolver, you can't have fun.
That's just what I was thinking. What's it for? Fun.
Right.
That's simple as that.
Right. And the double action revolver, as Chris mentioned, there's a whole line now behind the LCR. And that's a new revolver for us, for the industry, technologically the most advanced revolver
never been anything
ever.
Like it. Yeah.
Right. And we've really brought that line out. You've got some shorter barrels, longer barrels, different calibers. One of the newest ones is a 3-inch barrel,
right,
with fully adjustable sights,
hammer,
external hammer. So just a fabulous little trail gun, plinking gun, and it's got fun written all over it.
Exactly. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the polymer. I don't know if it's something, but to me, it feels like that gun has less felt recoil.
Oh, absolutely. We've watched it under high-speed video. Okay. So, yes, the polymer frame flexes.
Okay.
Yes, the Hogue tamer grip absorbs recoil. And then you put the two of them together, they work with each other. And, it's a very comfortable gun to shoot.
It's noticeable.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's a 38 or 357 in a small revolver, but it doesn't punish you when you shoot it. And that's actually pretty unique by itself. So, pretty cool.
One of the other LCR models we came out with this year, the 9mm version. And 9mm, of course, has always been a favorite across the board for pistol shooters.
Right.
But given the, in some cases, the tough availability of .22 ammo, the 9mm ammo is pretty well available and fairly reasonably priced.
Very affordable, yes.
And so using the moon clips, we have full moon clips that ship with the gun. They're very easy. You don't need the old extraction tool.
Okay.
They're very easy to get the rounds in the moon clips and out, and it really makes for a
and it becomes a speed loader.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the best way to carry extra ammo and the best way to get it in the gun.
Yeah. I mean, it's its own speed loader. Very cool. And, of course, you can use cheap 9, or you can use defensive 9 in it and make that your defensive gun.
Right.
Why not?
Right, absolutely.
Right. And 9mm revolvers, historically, they don't eject all that well. And Chris mentioned 100 engineers. We put a few of them on the job of really making the chamber correctly. And spent cases just fall out of that cylinder. Doesn't matter what it is. They just fall out.
Neat. I mean, of course, you guys are big into the 1911 line. It keeps growing like crazy.
Yeah, the 1911 products are all made out in our factory in Prescott, Arizona. And the guys out there do a great job. Most recently, we had the aluminum frame version of the Commander that's out. It's got the black lower and the stainless upper.
It's good looking, and it's a great carry gun.
It really is. It's got the Novak sights on it. In fact, Wayne Novak was in the booth yesterday with his guys and just telling us how much he likes the job we did with it. And it really is an awesome combination and tribute to the guys who building that 1911 product.
Well, of course, the 1911's dead. Nobody's interested in those now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's over 100 years old now.
Yeah. Why would anybody want such a thing like that?
Right.
And on that
along with the single action, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In that aluminum frame gun, we have a titanium feed ramp, and that is very unique.
Why?
Well, the feed ramps on an aluminum frame will get beat up by hollow points over time.
Okay.
And so not only would you damage the frame, but as it gets beat up, then you can affect feeding. So we put a nice wide titanium feed ramp in there. Now it will feed anything, even the big 200-grain flying ashtray kind of bullets, and it feeds them all day long. And it's still that's a premium feature in a gun, and it's still sold at a Ruger price.
That's great. How many 1911s do you have? Do you even know now?
Me personally, or the?
No, we don't want to get that personal.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean,
I think we can count them. Actually, it's pretty reasonable. It's a straightforward line. You have the 5-inch government, the Commander style, and the lightweight Commander style.
Okay.
Now, we've also made some special makeups, particularly for folks like Talo, one of our distributor groups, and you'll see specials like the Night Watchman and Navy SEALs commemorative model, things like that.
That's a good point. You do a lot of work with a number of the distributors. Lipsy's, of course, does a lot of work with you. And those are guns that may not be cataloged, but they are available on the website under the distributor exclusive.
Yes, they are.
They're there.
Over on the, if you look at our website on the left-hand side, you'll see distributor exclusive listed. There's always new things being added to that. And sometimes these are short runs where there may be 500 guns, but sometimes we'll keep going and run those as long as we have good demand for it.
Okay. That's it. So if you're interested in that type of thing, if you like the kind of different, something that your buddy's not going to have, you want to go over there and check it occasionally because, like I say, if it's a short run, you might not get in on a deal. All right. Let's do this. I want to, we're not going to have time before the break to get to another gun. We'll come back to that. And then when we come back here, we're also going to talk about Ruger's new initiative that Mike Pfeiffer just announced here, because I don't know if you guys knew he was going to do that, but he announced it on the air with us today. So we're going to talk about that. Ruger's initiative. It's a 2 million gun challenge to raise money for NRA's ILA. And you're going to contribute $2 per gun. So we're looking to raise $4 million, maybe even more than that. for the NRA ILA. It's a big deal, and it's a huge, huge commitment from Ruger. Don't go anywhere, everybody. We're going to be right back. We're at the NRA's annual meetings in Nashville. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk. Back with you, our final segment here. We are at the NRA annual meetings, and we're, of course, in Nashville. Where else would we be? Having a bunch of fun over here. I'm visiting with Mark Gurney and with Chris Killoy from Ruger. And you guys, I know we don't have a lot of time left, and you got more guns than we could talk about, so pick one and let's start.
Yeah, the LCP Custom.
LCP Custom.
So I think the LCP brought the really subcompact 380s to, mainstream.
Right.
But we did an upgrade earlier this year. So LCP Custom has a red anodized aluminum trigger, a polished stainless steel guide rod, and big sights that you can see, including a photoluminescent front dot.
Really?
So, people have, it's a small sight on that gun.
Right.
Because it's a small gun.
The gun was always accurate by itself, but it was difficult or challenging to shoot.
Correct.
With these additions, you make it more shootable.
Correct.
Is that fair enough?
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea. Now, but it doesn't affect the size of it or anything else.
No, the sights are slightly taller, but
but it's still concealable.
It's still the LCP we know and love.
Cool. Great idea. All right, what else you got there?
Well, two versions of the LC9 now. The LC9S, S for Striker. A lot of people love the LC9, but one of the things with that hammer fire, it had a long trigger pull.
I'm just going to tell you, the LC9 was nice. The LC9S is spectacular. That's what the S is for. Spectacular.
There you go.
It is unbelievable how nice that gun is. Seriously.
That trigger pull is awesome.
It is. First time I picked, because honestly, I got to tell you, I picked it up and I thought, yeah, it's an LC9. And you try the trigger and you go, whoa, what was that?
Big difference.
It is so good.
And then we followed that shortly after launch with the LC9S Pro, and the Pro just designates that we have removed the magazine safety disconnect system as well as the manual safety. And again, so that gives another option. You've got the option with the manual safety and a mag safety disconnect, or without. Those are the two versions of the LC9S.
And those are shipping now?
Those have been shipping for a while, and they're shipping in big numbers.
Yeah.
We've also got some special makeups on those guns that our distributors have done as well. So you'll see some of those in the different colors and things like that.
Oh, okay, cool. Are people liking different colored guns?
They really do. I mean, it's something different, and so what appeals to one person doesn't appeal to the other. So,
right.
So we got to try a lot of them. We do a lot of special makeups, everything from 1022s to the pistols out in Prescott, Arizona.
Right.
A lot of specials. That's a big part of our product line.
Okay. The LC9 Pro, right?
LC9S Pro.
Yeah, the LC9S Pro. Okay. Yep. That's I got my eye on that one, because in the realm of the smallish or smallest 9mm, because there's a limit to how small you can go at a 9.
Exactly.
That is just a really great pistol.
Absolutely. Good balance.
Yeah, it is. All right. And so you got a long gun there.
And then one of the things, just to remind everybody, it kind of needs no reminding right now, but the AR-556 that we're making down at our new plant in Mayodan, North Carolina.
Right.
The folks down there are doing an awesome job. Gas system. Originally we had the SR-556 line piston system.
Which was cost more money. Pistons
Great full-featured gun.
Right.
But this new AR-556 has everything you want and nothing you don't need. So it's really an awesome
Ruger
gun.
quality at a good price.
Absolutely.
Very cool. And of course, we've got the 2 million gun challenge from Ruger. From now until NRA next year, the challenge is to sell 2 million guns and donate $2 per gun to the NRA's Institute for Legislative Action. I would encourage everybody, it's going to be on the website in about 3 weeks, ballpark, something like that.
Right, and we'll make it easy to go donate right to the Institute for Legislative Action. We need it now more than ever.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for hosting us at the booth.
Thanks, Tom. You're always welcome here.
This is fun stuff. And for everybody else, get on board. Right now is the time to make a commitment. We're up into this election. It's going to be huge. So you really got to get on board. So check it out in about 3 weeks. Go to the Ruger website. You'll see what we're talking about there. All right, go shooting. Take somebody with you. Remember those 4 rules of gun safety. Watch those public ranges and tune in to Gun Talk.